Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass with JayBee, Millie, and Smash.
Hi everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee and Millie channel. Today we will be joined as always by Rhianna and Smash.
Hey.
Hello.
And we have an incredible guest today. We will be speaking with Marty Grabstein. Thank you so much for joining us today and agreeing to do this interview. There's so many things that we all wanted to ask you and speak with you about. So just thank you so much for your time today.
Well, I just want to, before you even ask me anything, I just have to say I'm absolutely impressed by the fact that you were willing to introduce me as Marty Grabstein. That's it.
Period.
And as if that's all they need, because they will know who I am. And I'm happy about that, because usually it would be Marty Grabstein, the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah. But he's more than that. He's many things, right? You're saying he's just a guy who has some things to offer. One of them happens to be this one big thing that he did that everybody knows he did. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that to you.
No, I mean, I think it's fair to say that, like you say, there are other things that's happened as well that we do want to speak about. It's not just Courage, although that is one of the most recent things with the release of Straight Out of Nowhere. So I guess that is going to be one factor, but there's just so many things that we are excited to speak with you about.
Yeah, I mean, I did make a list of questions, but I think we're just going to use that as a framework for the moment, because I think there's a lot that we can talk about today. So I suppose just to kick things off, I wanted to ask you what kind of made you want to become an actor and to come into this type of career?
What was, I'm sorry, I just had trouble. What was that actual question?
What made you want to become an actor initially?
What made me want to, okay. What brought me into the world of acting? Why did I decide to do that? I don't know if I really, and this is, it's a strange thing, but it's a very good question, actually. It seems like a question I should probably get more often, but it's it's an interesting question to ask anybody why they would choose to do this ridiculous job, which is so, difficult. And so, not that the job is so, it can be difficult, but just the idea of a profession as an actor is a very, very hard thing. And, all of that stuff. I don't know if I had a choice. I think I just, at the very beginning, I'm talking about 3-4 years old. I was like memorizing, like albums, like the Wizard of Oz. I memorized the Wizard of Oz album, cast album, and I would like perform it for people. Nobody asked me to do that. I just went ahead and did that, And then as any chance, when I got a chance to act in shows, I wanted to be in the show. And I was always very aggressive and outgoing and wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, Usually there was never a problem with being heard, as you could probably imagine, even right now, hearing me. They're hearing me down in Belfast right now. See what I did there? I made a little European joke, right? Normally I would say they're hearing me in Montana, but with you guys, I got to say Belfast. You see what I'm saying? It's just, you adjust the comedy for where it works. Of course, if the comedy doesn't work, it doesn't matter where you're adjusting it for. But we're going to move forward on this. This was actually a question you asked me about why. See what's happening now? See, like, what am I doing right now? I'm chattering on and on and on about some kind of nonsense. You see what I'm talking about? So what brought me to that? And the answer really is, I think you have your answer. It's just, it had to be. But ultimately, it became something a little bit more formal when I went to college and I had to decide upon a major. And then the major was either going to be psychology, where I was going to have to work with rats for about 2 years, in mazes, and just have to watch a very, very tedious course of study, or theater major right away. So I said, let's go for the theater major. It all went through from there. And then, I just always was doing it one way or another. often not getting paid for it, but doing it nonetheless because it's in my blood kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, my first question for you was going to be, was there anybody that inspired you to want to be an actor? But it sounds like from the start, you just naturally were there.
Yeah. Nobody inspired me. If it could have been, it is possible. This might be the first time I've ever answered this question the way I'm about to answer it, because I don't think I realized it until just now. Bert Lahr, the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I was filled with him. And I just was like, you know, put him up, you know. I was a king of the forest, you know, like he was so over the top, so wild. Perhaps he inspired me. I never realized that until just now, actually. There you have it, right here on this show.
Hey, thank you.
There you go.
That's really, really good. Because that very much is like a performance that leans very much into that kind of loud and very charismatic personality that I think definitely is very well suited.
Yeah.
So I suppose we have a question here. I don't know if Ashton wanted to ask that one, or if we had some kind of conversational questions.
Don't worry about the pauses. You'll be able to edit this thing, right? You can cut this out. So if there's an uncomfortable moment where we don't know what we're doing, we cut it out, right?
Nobody has to know.
That's what your job is, isn't it, JayBee?
Yeah, well, I guess
magic.
more than half of us are in the UK, so we kind of thrive upon awkward silences and kind of dull moments.
I love that. You and Harold Pinter, right?
Harold
Pinter?
I actually don't think I know who Harold Pinter. I think Rhianna might do.
I recognize the name, but I'm not going to lie. It's 1 a.m. for me, so my brain's like...
One of the great British playwrights of the I want to say started in the early 60s. He specialized in very spare language, very spare. There's a phrase called the Pinter pause. There was a lot of pauses in his work. Somebody would say something, he would say da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
In reality, it normally follows with an awkward comment about the weather or something, doesn't it? In the UK, it's like
filling it in.
It's raining today.
He chose to go against that and make the pause part of the drama, part of the experience. Okay, but onward we go.
So
let's move this thing along. What are we doing here? Not a Harold Pinter play.
So of course, you know, you're iconic as Courage, but do you see any differences when preparing, or is there one that you like more or better than the other, like doing a voice acting or like live action performance? Is there any difference that you see or you like more within those?
I'm not really, I mean, to call me a voice actor is being kind, actually. I don't be too, hard on myself, but just career-wise, I haven't really done much voice acting. And Courage was more of an anomaly for me than anything else, actually. Though I love it because it's like amazing how you don't have to it's all just, it feels very easy to do that. But it has its own problems, and its own challenges attached to it. But for me, for sure, it's being on camera, it's what I prefer. I mean, and also acting with other people. Usually voice acting, I'm alone in the studio in front of a microphone. So in terms of the actual process itself, there's nothing really that terribly thrilling about voice acting. But what's exciting is, the final product,
Right.
And what's exciting is being able to take those limitations you have and experience and turn them into focused work, you know, so it's, you know, certainly, and I certainly would love to do more of it. And I'm right now, I got like kind of a new agent that's now been sending me out a lot on auditions for new animated things. Now that I'm an older guy, my voice is very specific. I also have a little bit of getting over a little bit of a cold right now, so I'm a little bit hoarse, but I generally have this kind of, you know, scratchy, raspy voice, which is very good for certain things.
Right.
And so, you know, certainly want to use it for that. But for me, on camera, you know, camera thing at the time.
Oh,
Nice.
that's so interesting. And this is a bit of a side question, but I know, so I'm training, I mentioned this a little bit before to JayBee, Millie and Ash, that I'm training to be an actress under Kate Melton, who played Daphne. And I know that with how the world's going at the moment, you know, a lot of the self-tapes and auditions, it is all done online primarily. So when you're doing that, does it kind of take you back to when you are doing voice acting, because you are essentially alone when recording self-tape?
Video self-tape you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's different, right? It does take me back a little bit, but it's different because, you know, like if I'm looking at myself, right? I'm able to see, like I'm looking at, like I'm talking to you now, right? But I'm also able to check and see how I'm looking. How's my shirt? Can I fit the shirt? There you go. A little less wrinkled there, you know, because it was bunching up. I'm able to like watch it. And so when you're doing a self-tape, you can kind of see yourself, how you doing, check in, you're doing your acting, and you got to be careful not to look this way, because if I'm looking that way, it's like I have to look that way, right? Now I'm looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I can't see you. Now I'm looking at you, right? Isn't that weird? The beauty of Zoom. But anyway, but it's not just Zoom, it's also the camera. You got to be careful with the camera anyway, right? So I like doing, I mean, the self-tapes are great. I mean, as far as being able, you know, what I miss is going into people's offices and getting an audition and walking in and meeting the casting director. There they are. It's that in-person connection, which often can get you the work. To walk into the job and open that door, and the minute you open that door, boom, you're seeing people and they're looking at you and you're looking at them. In that first moment, the audition begins. Before you've said anything, before you've certainly done any work, how you say hello to them, how you connect with them, it's all gone with the self-tape thing. So I miss that. But it's great because you're home, right? You know, you don't get to, you know, you don't have to worry too much about scheduling and we got to get there at 3 o'clock and the other, oh shoot, I'm working. But no, you get me the self-tape the next day. So you do it, you know, you work it out, you know.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you for that. And that kind of leads on to the next question, which is, if you embarked on a new reoccurring project in the future, would you like it to be on screen or voice, like a voiceover?
If I had a recurring what?
If you started working on a new recurring project, would you like it to be on screen or voiceover?
On screen, yeah. Unless it was Courage. Give me another Courage. I'll take that in a hair's breadth.
Wow. I mean, I think that would definitely be something that a lot of people would absolutely adore now after the kind of new crossover. But I think for many, many years, people have been really wanting a new series of Courage. And I guess going on to the origins of Courage, I'd like to ask, I suppose, what your first interaction with Courage was, if it was an audition that you were put up for, or how exactly you first heard about the role.
Well, basically, it's a great story, actually. A friend called me, right, called me up, and I had not actually spoken to her in a few years. And she gave me a buzz. She said, you know, Marty, you know, she noticed that I had been doing sketch comedy in New York with a partner around the various clubs around the city and some theaters, and so we were kind of burning up the airwaves just a little bit. Kind of exciting in a group called Lab Rats, the two of us, just a duo. We wrote and performed all that stuff, and we got a couple of nice reviews in New York newspapers and magazines, kind of thing. So she saw my review, and she saw Marty. She figured I'll give him a call, and she said, "Listen, I'm working for this guy. I see you're still in the business, making no money at all. By the way, I made no money doing the sketch comedy, zero. And as a matter of fact, I was negative because we had to pay for everything, you know, the whole show. But it was very exciting, right? We were doing what inspired us, you know. And but anyway, so she said, I see you're still in the business. I'm working with this guy, John Dilworth, who's putting together a new animated series called Courage the Cowardly Dog. And he, you know, he's auditioning for the voice of the lead character, Courage. And he has heard every voiceover artist in the city over the last 3.5, 4 months. Over 200 voices he's heard. And he hasn't been able to decide how the character should sound. So she said, at this point, I'm opening the door to whomever, and I thought of you and figured I'd give you a call. So I came in, and actually within the first minute, and I didn't know what I was going to even do, I just started doing stuff. It seemed right. And he started reacting, John Dilworth. There was laughter. There was like kind of a, yeah. Could you try, like, you know, like that, well, that sort of stuff going on. And then at a certain point, he said, "Oh, this is great. This is great. Can you do?" And I was pretty much doing it like this, like me. So he said, "Could you do that? But pitch it up here. Can you do that?" And as soon as yes, that's it. That's the part, and that was it. It was unbelievable, right? Like, it was like he said, you know, we got. What's the lesson in that? The lesson in that is that first of all, you never know, and that number two, and for me, the lesson was, why did she call me? Because I was following my dream, even though I shouldn't have been, logically, because I was making no money. I wasn't making any money, but I was doing what I loved, and I was keeping my feet into the industry somehow. And so I got a little payoff for that, you know. So anyway, kind of a nice lesson for people that are, especially you over there. What's your name again?
Rhianna.
Rhianna, yeah, young person, you know. Just do what you love, right? Do it because you love it. So young anyway, you got plenty of time. Wait for this world to become human again.
Yeah.
UK, God, horrible. What's going on? Please. Tell Boris Johnson I want to have a conversation with him.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot that we could say to Boris Johnson. Although I think they might be too busy bringing up other animated characters that aren't strictly relevant.
Oh yeah,
to
they
this.
seem to enjoy Peppa Pig World.
Peppa World, that was a whole fiasco. They basically did this interview this kind of press conference where they forgot what they were saying and then just went on a tangent about how much they like going to Peppa Pig World.
Were they talking about like people's lives and like the terrible stuff happening in the country?
You know, so the new variant of COVID-19 is, so yeah, we went to Peppa Pig World. They're an interesting character.
Oh Lord.
They should
anyway.
They should do a Courage the Cowardly Dog world. I think that would be such an interesting theme park to go to, because you could make all the kind of abstract visuals of the show apparent, and just imagining some of the rides that they could have there. Wow. I think that would be amazing.
And the staff could all have to walk around in those big green masks.
Oh. They could all dress up like eggplants.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
Reminiscence. They're reminiscing. See? Right. See, this is what you would do with Scooby-Doo, you guys, right? More, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess a question that I'm having, I guess leaping off from your last answer, when you went in for your kind of meeting to see if you were up for the role of Courage the Cowardly Dog, were you given any particular briefing either before or after where you thought that Courage was a character that you could bring a lot of life to?
I didn't know anything. I just know he was a very terrified creature, was scared. All I got was he's a terrified little dog, terrified of everything, screams, and he's very neurotic. But then at the last, usually at the 11th hour, he manages to somehow summon up strength and courage and save the day, save his family, save the world. It's a nice lesson there too, right? So that's all I got was that, and I just jumped into it. So whatever I did in the audition was the character you heard, pretty much. There wasn't anything that different than the way I did it that day, really.
That's amazing. And in terms of, I know you're saying that kind of like this, when they'd been working with you with the voice, like try it like at this pitch, and they're like, that's it, that's done. Like we've spoken to a few people who've said that, there was kind of like callback processes and that kind of thing. But did you know at that point where they're just like, okay, that's it, be there?
Did I, like it was done in like less than 5 minutes. Like he just maybe 3 or 4 minutes. He knew, like he had what he wanted.
That's amazing.
I basically showed him how the character should sound because he didn't know how it should sound. He knew how he didn't want it to sound.
Sure.
About 200 ways that he didn't want it to sound. Somehow I became what made him understand that that's how the character's supposed to sound.
That's amazing.
Mystical in a way, right?
That's great. So you just knew from the start? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then how long from that little 3-minute audition thing did you start recording for the show?
Oh, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Roughly.
Okay, yeah. It's not too long. All right. And did you ever get the chance to actually record with any of the other actors and actresses on the show, or was it all isolated?
It was all isolated, but I would see them. I would see them coming in. They'd come in early. I'd come in later. We would cross and play. We would talk. We would, we'd watch each other.
Yeah.
But mostly it was just solo.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
But there were some great parties though. Parties, yeah.
Do you have any memories while you were recording the series that just stand out to you even now and make you smile or laugh or feel like sometimes there's a memory that may make you feel a little bit angry but then laugh about it later on?
That made me feel, well, which one? Something made me feel angry, but then I thought about it later on. You probably want that one more, right? That's more juicy. Right? That's more juicy, right? British. More darkly British, right? Let's go with the darkly British. You guys are all English, right?
Apart from Smart Ashton.
I got your Montana reference. I'm from Utah.
You're from Utah?
Yeah.
Well, but you're living in the UK, or are you still in Utah?
No, I'm still in Utah.
Oh, okay. And where are you?
Rhianna, I think.
I'm sorry, I'm in the UK.
You're in the UK, okay. Yeah. So darkly, okay. Well, listen, there was one thing that got to me a little bit. I was a little upset about it. I didn't do what was I gonna do? I just felt like there's nothing I could do. After the first season happened, And it was a big hit the first season, right? Everybody loved it. They fell in love with this show and the dog and my character. They decided to somehow change the way the dog, like that Courage would now, where he would now speak sometimes, he would hardly ever speak in the second season. He would just, it would be, which is, you know, it's funny, and a lot, certainly the screaming and the reactions, and every once in a while you'd hear yay or Muriel or whatever, right? So he didn't speak, but he would speak sometimes. Now he doesn't speak, but he doesn't speak too often. The arbitrary nature of it was very strange. They changed it. And I couldn't understand why you would change something that started off so well. Like, what were you trying to accomplish? The idea was maybe that you'd be able to kind of keep things going a little quicker because my lines weren't showing up so much. It's not that my performance was a problem for them. It was that they said that in general, they listened to focus groups, which is a dangerous thing to do sometimes. And they saw that most of the reactions were from the more frenetic stuff, the more action versus stuff, you know, the screaming, you know, all that. They laughed more from it. Whereas, you know, like, oh, my name is, you know, John Q. Silver, and it's not, right? These little jokes and stuff. But it's part of, I think, what gave him his charm. And when I see fans at the conventions, and I do a lot of conventions where I go to these, you know, like popular culture conventions, you know, Comic-Cons and things like that. I meet a lot of fans, and they're always asking me, say this, say that, could you say that quote? And they all want me to say the lines. So I think it was ridiculous, actually, that they did that. I can understand on a certain level why they might limit it more, make the writing of it a little bit more, less redundant at times, but it pissed me off. It really did piss me off a lot. And it saddened me because I'm an actor, right? So you're taking my lines away, you know, the actors like to have their lines, right? So it just made me, you know, so I had to kind of plow through that. But as I did, I actually felt fine about it. And people were loving the show just as much. And they were fine about that, they, you know, that I wasn't, you know. And it was actually an additional challenge because I had to continue to create this character without having those easy lines to rely upon, you know. So it actually became its own interesting challenge, and we all need those, right? So there you have it. I think that was your question. See, wasn't that juicier, Rhianna, right?
Yeah, thank you. Like, my brother, he was actually talking to me before this, and I'll admit, I didn't grow up watching Courage, unfortunately, but he was a big fan of it growing up. And he said that was one change he didn't quite understand. He still enjoyed the show and loved Courage, but it was one thing he didn't quite understand. And but that actually leads on to the next question, which is, so there was a special pilot which we think premiered in 1996, but after
95.
95, and
Yeah, that was not me. I did not do that. And it wasn't really a pilot, but it became a pilot. It actually was not done with the idea of being a pilot. It was a short animated film that he didn't know what was going to happen with. And it got nominated for an Academy Award. It's called The Chicken from Outer Space, actually. So it got nominated for an Academy Award. And so that got him the green light to go, you know, John, to get his, to get a whole show going. But, you know, the character was kind of blah. I mean, as far as he looked great, but the vocal was very tame. And then he only had one line at the end And I swear to God, it went like this. This shouldn't happen to a dog. And that, like, just that deep voice. And he didn't want that. So he chose a guy with a deep voice and made him go high. It's brilliant.
See, I imagine like that change in voice. I'm surprised you didn't finish recording with a sore throat every day, because like you said, when you're looking at roles now, you're particularly looking at like the deep voice. And I think like Courage, like screaming Muriel is the most iconic thing. Like after the Straight Out of Nowhere movie, JayBee and I'd be walking around the house and he'd just scream Muriel in that voice to try and scare me. Like, it is iconic.
Yeah, I didn't want that to be out in the public because now I seem like a crazy person, but it is good.
What did you guys think of the movie? We'll get into the Scooby thing a little bit. What did you guys think of it?
I guess we can start with Rhianna.
I absolutely loved it, and I couldn't find a fault, to be honest. I enjoy everything Scooby, and it made me actually go back and watch old episodes of Courage, and I'm binge watching it with my brother, and it's just so much fun, and I love the character. I love everything about it.
And I guess Ashton.
Yeah, so I didn't really grow up with it either. And then I was trying to like hurry and binge the entire series before the movie came out because I wanted that background of Courage. I only got through like the first season, and then I had to have my boy who's showering right now. I was like, tell me what happens in this show. So he hurried and like caught me up on, he's like, here's the most pivotal things you need to know. But then I watched it and I was like, you know what? Even if I didn't know anything of Courage, that was just an absolute blast. That was just fun. So that's how I could describe the movie for anyone. It was just fun.
It was
What
amazing.
about you guys?
See, the one thing that I like, Courage in general, the one thing that I love about it is the dynamic. So JayBee and I have been laughing a little bit watching it recently because we rewatched all the old episodes as well. And just the dynamic between Muriel and her husband, we say, reminds us of my parents. Because my mum very much considers my dad to be like the miserable old man, and she's like, oh, this amazing caring woman. So just the dynamic that they play always makes us laugh because we're just associated with my parents. But the movie was really good. It was really good to kind of have the second dog running around to like annoy you, like you even more. So yeah, it was fun.
Great. And you?
Well, I did kind of half grow up watching Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't know if I caught reruns, but I must have got hooked to watching I must have seen maybe 20 episodes until, and I've written it down in my notes here, I got to the House of Discontent episode, which is the one with the kind of floating face. And like traumatized me so much as a child that I couldn't watch anymore. But then in later life, I did go and watch it all, and I absolutely love it. I don't know what it kind of embarrassed me that I was scared of it watching it back in hindsight, but I do love the vibe, and I think they blended the theme with the Scooby movie very well as well. I think they could have gone a bit scarier and a bit weirder with it, but ultimately, I think if you don't know Scooby, I think you can enjoy it. If you don't know Courage, you can enjoy it. So I think they found a nice way to blend both worlds together.
Yeah, because with it being two different like things, it was two different art styles, and they even incorporated and balanced the different art styles really well, so it didn't seem disjointed. It was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that, and I thought they didn't. Yeah, I was worried, because I was thinking, well, first of all, I mean, I'm just going around and saying this, and I don't care if anybody hears me from Warner Brothers. Well, give me a call or write me a nasty letter. But I think they really did a pretty lousy job of promoting this movie. Yeah. I mean, did you even know it was happening? Come on, man.
We're fortunate in that we do a Scooby-Doo podcast every week, and at the end of that episode we always go over community news and what's happening. So just through being in like a community with it, we know of things happening, but like you were saying, there wasn't like any huge news. Like, to get the DVD of this movie, it was so difficult. Like normally when DVDs come out, they're in displays at the front of the store and everything. this was just a case of walking to the back where the DVDs were, and it was like, is it on the shelf yet? It's not there. You know, let's just download it because it's the only way to get it right now. Even the release was a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, to be fair, that partially that is also a function of, you know, the DVDs are going away, you know, more and more so, you know, and so even within the last, because what are you, in your early 20s?
Yeah.
I'm 19.
19. But no, Millie, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Yeah, early 20s. Yeah. So I'm saying even 5-6 years ago, it was easier to get DVDs and to make bigger deals. So I understand that partially.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I believe that the lack of promotion also, because here's the thing, when you are promoting something, you are, by the sheer reality of that, it is also you're learning things about response to your promotion, which can indicate to you how the message you should be putting out to your distributors, to the distribution of the hardware that's going on the shelves, right? If you don't have a handle on what's going on promotion wise, then you're not going to know that anybody gives a crap, you know, or how many people really give a crap that Courage and Scooby-Doo. Here's the thing. Scooby-Doo is an empire. Scooby-Doo is 47 movies. So to them, it was just another Scooby-Doo movie.
Mm-hmm.
This time he meets Courage. This time he meets them. You know, it's just like, but they own Courage. Like Warner owns Courage now. So why would they not want to take that opportunity to juice it up just a little bit more? The two dogs, the two Warner dogs, they had such an opportunity to do something with that. And they didn't.
No.
That's okay, because that's not my job. I'm an actor, right? Great for me. Great that it happened. I am so happy to have done it. And I thought it was really good what they did with it. I thought it was something that when people see it, the fans are loving. The fans of Courage are loving it because it doesn't, here's the thing. It takes place in nowhere, right? Like, so it's in Courage's universe. So the Scooby crew comes to nowhere. And Courage, well, you all saw the movie, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that last 5 minutes, it's Courage who saved everybody. Just Courage alone, without all the help. That was wonderful. That was so wonderful. And I, you know, I was just really happy, and what a good job they did with that. I'm just irritated with the promotion department. Like, what were they doing? What were they thinking?
I mean, like you said, it was set in nowhere. Like the majority took place there, so it was all the Courage the Cowardly Dog art style. In terms of the backdrop, it was what you recognized as been from that. It was almost like a lot of the Scooby-Doo movies is Scooby-Doo and, whereas this was almost Courage the Cowardly Dog and, because it was Scooby was brought into their universe and not the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of promotion, I think it's fair to say the community just take it for granted now that Warner Brothers tend to do 2 Scooby-Doo movies a year, and if you just keep searching Warner Brothers, it's going to display what it is. I haven't personally seen a single advertisement for Courage. I've just spoken to people like Smash who said, yeah, so this is what the new movie is, this is when this is happening.
That was the trailer, I guess, and I think that was trending, so I think maybe the people reacted to it better than the Warner Brothers promoted it.
Yeah.
But here's what's stupid about the trailer. They put the trailer out 2.5 to 3 months before the movie comes out, and then nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why? Do the trailer later, closer to the time period, and do some little things, some interview. I mean, they did do some interviews with me, some online interviews, you know, and those were fine. But you know, in general, I didn't see anything. Here's the thing: I'm not in that universe. I'm not in the nerd world, but I am a nerd in my own right. But I'm not following all the fans of Courage and fans of Scooby. These are people that would know what's happening. Like when I heard it's going to be coming out. And the fans would come up to me at my table at the conventions and go, yeah, you're going to check out the movie? You go, you're kidding me. Stop. Courage Scooby-Doo movie? Imagine a fan of Courage. Someone is coming to pay me for my autograph, right? And doesn't know that there's a Courage movie out. Isn't that horrible?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Why
ridiculous.
didn't they get to know that? Why would I have to tell them?
Yeah.
Terrible. So Warner Brothers, you messed up bad with that. I'm sorry. And I loved all your old cartoons. I'm a big fan of the old Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoons, my favorites.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is really good, but it seems that a lot of the times with them, unless it's going in a physical like cinema into a theater, they're kind of a bit like it's part of the machine. It's almost mass produced, like, let's get this out. Whereas if it was in the cinema, like they'd be having like people dressed up as Courage the Cowardly Dog kind of dancing around DVD stalls and a McDonald's promotion.
True. But remember, the pandemic did limit stuff.
True.
Yeah.
Still stuff they could have done. Even though they had the pandemic, everybody cried that, well, you know, the pandemic and we can't do anything. You know, there's plenty of stuff you could do. Plenty of things you could do without making a live appearance, you know.
I guess the thing that I wanted to ask you about that in terms of, I guess we've mentioned before that you really enjoy, I guess, speaking as like speaking parts on that. The Courage is like their reduced speech was a bit discontinued after season 1, but going through the whole show, there's so many like wacky and bombastic villains that have little catchphrases and kind of long overdrawn parts. And I was wondering if there's any of those villains that you would like a crack at voicing if they were to revive the character, or if you could play more than one role back there.
So really, no one's ever asked me that one. Well, it's really hard because my favorite villains are all played by an extraordinary voice actor. Paul Scheffler is his name. And he was so great at it. I couldn't imagine myself doing even remotely anything better than what he did. You know, he was so good at what he did. But I think probably I might have liked the idea of doing Cats, I suppose. You know, very low key and yeah, you know, I would have done it differently, but I would have enjoyed that very, especially because I'm Courage. I'm so high pitched and screaming, and this one being very low key and almost, you know, unrecognizable. The actual voice of Courage. Oh, by the way, I always keep forgetting this when I'm interviewed. You know, I also played another part in that movie.
Ooh, I don't believe I did know that. No.
I played a scary clown guy at the beginning.
Oh, yes. You know, wait, watching the unmasking at the start of that, I did wonder, and I did actually see that, but then it slipped my mind completely.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I look bad now. That's amazing.
It was fun to get to do that. Yeah.
So I guess another thing that I wanted to ask in regards to Courage's lines and everything, were there any catchphrases or any type of phrases that you had to say that were a bit difficult at first that you had to work yourself into?
Nah, That's an easy answer. Not really, nothing that I can think of. I mean, it all came pretty easily, There weren't, it wasn't Shakespeare, or should I say Sir Francis Bacon? Sorry, I don't know if you heard about that. Did you ever hear about that?
What was that?
I don't know what I'm talking about. That Shakespeare didn't really write all of those plays,
Yeah.
and that it was Sir Francis Bacon.
Bacon. Yeah, I did hear about bacon. I think my English teacher told me about it once, but obviously back when I was kind of young and reckless, I wasn't really paying attention to my English teacher. I was fiddling with pens or doing all sorts.
Getting into
Just
stuff,
missing out.
right?
Yeah, big trouble.
Okay, so I know we talked about which villains you were that Cats would have been a really interesting one to voice, and JB's talked about the House of, was it Discontent, you said?
The House of Discontent, which
Yeah,
was
then,
like kind of the new moon type of
your
monster.
most kind of
Get
fearful
out.
episode. Is there an episode that stands out to you as a villain that's like particularly one that you think would, like, most people would have been more afraid of than others, or that kind of thing?
Wait, what's it? I'm sorry, what?
The scariest current
like,
villain.
yeah, like you said the House of Discontent was your scariest episode. For
Oh,
you
I
personally,
think,
JB, what would you say was the scariest?
Ricky Fred.
Oh, the one that says, "I like to get naughty."
Oh gosh, yeah.
Rewatching that was like, oh my gosh, that was a very, and the grin as well.
Yeah, and by the way, the grin was actually Dilworth loosely based it on his own face.
Oh, I did not expect that. I was thinking more like a Tim Curry Pennywise type influence there.
Yeah.
Well, it was, but I'm saying Dilworth's face, it was sort of like a bizarro version of Dilworth's own face, kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
So my next question was, you've recently hosted a few Instagram live streams and appeared at some conventions. What's your favorite part of interacting with Courage the Cowardly Dog fans?
My favorite part is that it seems as if I stumbled into a character and a show that really touched people's hearts as well as entertained them, and sort of, became like a part of them, or, their emotions were very connected to that. And so, especially meeting people in person and speaking to them about, how, what it was like. And my dad and I would watch it together, and my grandma and I would, it was that we bonded together when we'd watch you. I'd get people with tears in their eyes, and somehow it was like, it wasn't just a fun show that people loved, but it was actually that maybe there was something built into the DNA of the show about this very vulnerable creature who is so terrified, so frightened, and somehow finds a way to face his fear and move forward and do really good, And so, like, that gives hope for people, for the island of misfits toys people, who have their own, who feel kind of alone. They feel a little less alone from this. It's kind of wonderful for me to, reach people on that level,
I guess I've got a part 2 to that question as well, which is, obviously been in the UK, we struggle to get like the same amount of guests and things to like Comic-Cons and all that kind of thing. Is there a place that stands out to you that you've been able to visit through doing Comic-Cons that you've enjoyed going to the most?
You mean it's the town?
Like just anywhere, be it like a state that you've not really been to before that you enjoyed for a Comic-Con or anything like that?
Well, I enjoyed going to Texas because I've been to Texas twice now, and I'm going to be going back a third time this, God willing, if the powers that be decide to allow people to live their lives, or people decide that they're going to live their lives anyway, despite the powers that be. So, you know, I'm just loving the spirit of the people in Texas. There's something very its own thing, kind of. And to a lesser extent, Florida, actually, which also, you know, while I'm more familiar with Florida, I don't think I really understood how different Florida often is from the rest of. See, when I grew up, I'm a Jewish guy, grew up in Brooklyn, New York, middle class background, and usually the Jews in New York, when it came to wintertime, they would go to Florida. They'd go to the they'd go out, they'd go to Florida, and they would sit on the beach, and they get the hotels, and that would be kind of the lifestyle. A whole lot of Jews lived in Miami Beach more than ever. Now there's a very different kind of background to Florida. So I didn't really need Florida then, because I had enough Jews, where I was growing up. I had plenty of Jews everywhere I looked. It was like Jew heaven, New York City. So, it was now in Florida, there's a kind of, and there are still many Jews in Florida, but it's more of a mixed bag where I'm going, and I'm just seeing this wonderful spirit in Florida right now, a real wonderful spirit of, again, living their lives, and kind of like, sort of like a pride. I can't put my finger on it, but it's great feeling both of those places. So I think that was kind of your question. You didn't know how deep that was going to go.
That was my question. Thank you.
The Jew thing. When I kept saying Jews, and he's saying, so it's okay to say Jews. Yeah, of course it's okay to say Jews. Nothing bad about the word Jew. Jew.
There you go. So then, speaking of like conventions and stuff, is there any like particular item or something that you have been asked to autograph that stands out to you?
Yeah, a couple of times, really 3 times, I've autographed people's leg.
Oh, all right.
They already have an autograph of courage, right? Now, they already have a tattoo of courage. So they want me to sign under the tattoo, and then they'll tattoo my signature. So when they die, when they're being prepared, the body is being prepared, whoever's preparing it is going to see my signature on the person's leg.
That's dedication. Wow. That's incredible.
And they paid me for that too. They gave me money to sign their own leg.
That's wonderfully frightful.
Whatever makes them happy. All right, so then kind of a little more of a different question, but the like Funko Pop vinyl figures, have you seen that they're doing a Courage one?
Waiting for mine to come. I ordered 50.
So were you like, did they make you aware of that beforehand? Did you get to approve anything or see anything before?
No one gets to approve Funko Pops, I don't think.
Okay, so they just said ta-da, they're doing it, and you're like, cool.
Yeah.
Nice, all right.
They do what they want to do. I mean, I think they got to get approval from, they don't need my approval for it. It's not my image. I don't own the image, so I don't have to approve anything. But they pretty much, if they want to do a Funko Pop, everybody's excited about it, apparently. It sounds like a big deal, right? I'm waiting for mine to come.
Mm-hmm.
I got 50 coming from one source. I got another 50 from another source. And I'm thinking I'll have 100. Maybe I'll be okay. So I go to the, I'm not going to bring 1 million Funko Pops, but they'll come with their own and ask me to sign them. And then I have an agent that's going to be setting up a signing thing where they could do it through the mail or whatever it is. And, you know, so how cool is that? I was wondering, when am I ever going to get one? So I was very excited that they came out with it. I have no idea how the sales are going. I think it's still very, I think a lot of, have you even gotten yours? Did you ask for one?
We
No,
ordered one from this website called Pop in a Box. We want to order another one as like a part of a giveaway to celebrate this interview, but like it's something that I don't really want to announce until it arrives. But it looks amazing, and it was just so exciting, just having like just the thought of having a little Courage on the shelf. It's amazing.
I think the thing with the UK is everything's less accessible with stuff
they're like
this.
imported, right? So
Yeah,
it's websites that buy in bulk from the US to sell onto a UK kind
Yeah,
of
so we've
demographic.
got to wait for them to be like spread out throughout the US, to then be flew over to the UK and then be distributed here as well. So we've seen some of the US getting there. So hopefully that means they're on the way.
Yeah, that
Hopefully.
Yes.
I was
So-
actually
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. Say that again.
I was actually curious when when we were talking about the conventions, do you think that you would ever come to a convention in the UK?
Sure. They booked me. Yeah, I'll come. Yeah. Love to come.
See, that would be absolutely amazing.
Email I can't remember what the name of the one is, so we went, but email them, JayBee.
Well, no. Well, it was actually, I wanted to ask this because I was a bit surprised when I found out this. Millie and I went to this convention in Manchester called For the Love of Horror, where Matthew Lillard was doing signings and photographs. And one thing we asked them was if they'd seen the Courage kind of crossover movie yet. And this was back in October. I don't know if this has changed now, but they said that they hadn't watched it yet. So I was wondering, for like the launch of the movie, did Warner Brothers try and host any type of watch along, or was were cast members sent copies of the DVD, or was it just here it is, it's out there?
I got nothing. I did nothing with any other cast members. There was never anything like even like a Zoom meeting. You would think arrange a Zoom thing with some of the lead actors and make a little half-hour interview or something, you know, to promote the movie. Nothing. There's nothing for that. So no, the answer is no. I did get copies of the movie from them, but I had to ask for it.
Mm.
I had to ask for copies. I got them. I got 5. And then I had to ask for another 5. Should give me 20, you know. But anyway, it is what it is. Matthew Lillard's a great guy, actually. I did a wonderful, if you look at my page, I have a video of me bursting into his signing because we were both at Rhode Island Comic-Con together. I'd never met him before. So I said, you know, let me just insinuate myself into his life. But he doesn't know me. So he was like, you know, it was this fun thing. I won't even say, but it was great fun. So yeah. I just want, you know, I wanted actually, because I know we're running close to kind of time, and I wanted, you know, I know we're having fun. I know you're having fun, but I did want to just mention, boy, that this thing really flew actually. I can't believe it's off already. But I did want to just mention that I am, you know, there is life after Courage for me. I'm not actually happy to, you know, to say that, first of all, and actually I probably will be posting it on my page. This it's another little cartoon that this kid actually did. A friend of mine teaches film at Pratt in New York, and he, you know, this kid that is like his graduate senior thesis piece, put together a cartoon, and the teacher really loved what this kid did. And the kid was a big fan of Courage, so, you know, he wanted me to see it. And then the kid actually asked me if I would do a couple of voices in it, and he would replace the voices that were done. One of them, which was him doing it anyway, and the other kid was like someone helping him out. So I did a couple of voices, and I think it's a good. And it's been like 6 film festivals, and he's like gotten like laurels and kind of like, you know, like a finalist or semi-finalists, things like that. Like, so I'm going to be posting. I think it's kind of a fun thing to actually have another cartoon, right?
That's exciting.
And I also, you know, did this, and you might have seen it in my most recent, because you mentioned my most recent post, right? The one with where no, you didn't mention that. But anyway, my most recent, it just came out yesterday. So where I'm actually putting together this, I did this show. See this part that I'm doing here? Edit some of this. You gotta go, because I've been chattering on now and I haven't said anything. This will happen sometimes. That's why this is good that it's not live. But where I did a short film, I produced a short film about Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Great writer, 1960s, 70s, Rolling Stone magazine, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Very wild, out of control life. This guy, wild character, brilliant writer, and very funny. So I got a chance, you know, I got a chance. I produced this thing, and my partner, my creative partner, wrote the script, and you know, we came up with the story together, and then he wrote the script and directed it, and I play Hunter S. Thompson. It's a 17-minute film. It's in post-production right now, and so you're going to be hearing about that. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to the film festival circuit as well, and you know, going to be doing a lot of good stuff with it. It's in the process of being finished. So I'm very excited about this film. Talk about the on-camera stuff. This is, you said, what do I like to do? This is what I like to do. Really.
Wow. That is fantastic. We'll definitely be able to keep people up to date with that, and we'll definitely keep an eye for that ourselves. I suppose, being conscious of time, would you perhaps have time for, I guess, one final question each?
Oh, yeah. I just didn't want to, you know, yes. I didn't want to, I feel good. I wanted to say those things.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something that we were going to get on, because we're a bit stalkers that way. We were kind of like, we've been on your Instagram, kind of just hiding like, oh my gosh, look at this.
You have. I've seen you
about this. So that's kind of my thing. I'm the creep of the team, really.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I do have time. Go ahead.
So I guess
JayBee, your question.
Oh gosh, I'm nervous now.
No, I got a few more minutes. I just didn't want to, you know.
No, thank you.
But I know there is something I'm going to have to do in about 40 minutes. I'm going to have to do something. So I just wanted to I was being aware of the time. So see, now this conversation, you won't keep this in the recording, right? You'll get rid of this.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like just you and me talking.
Yeah, this is just like behind the scenes.
That's right.
So I guess the question that I have is concerning the Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scooby-Doo crossover, and that was, how did you first hear that Courage was making a reappearance?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I actually heard when I got contacted on my Facebook page, actually. So I was glad I had a Facebook page, by Warner Brothers casting director, and said, hi Marty, we are, oh, sorry. Oof. I did so much talking just now, I made myself yawn. Usually I make other people yawn when I do that much talking, but they said we're doing a crossover between Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scooby-Doo, and we'd like to know if you're interested in doing it. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course. And so, she said, that's terrific. What we need from you is, this is not an audition, but we need to just have you just record just a few lines of how Courage would say things, just so that we could hear that you still sound like him, And so I did. Yeah, of course. I knew I did. I knew I was able to do that. So I got it. So it was like, wow, isn't that wonderful? But I was also in a little bit of a quandary because I have an agent. The agent is the one who's gotten me, the Law and Order. I've done a bunch of, TV stuff, Law and Orders, and the I just did Blacklist last year. I got to appear with James Spader. See, I got that in. See, I get it all in. Get it in, man. By the way, check out the Blacklist. You ever see that show? You get it in the UK?
I don't think we do. If it's airing on anything like the CW or anything like that, it's alien to us. We have to find a naughty way to get it. Oh, we do have Netflix. I'll have to check to see if it's on UK Netflix.
Yeah, so the thing with Netflix is the UK is restricted even further with that, in that like America has these elaborate like lists of things available, and we got limited to like, I think we get about 25% of what America get on Netflix.
Do get stuff they don't have, but I think that's kind of few and far between. But
yeah,
it's kind of pick and choose.
So
I think with Blacklist, sorry, I think with Blacklist, it was shown a few episodes and then it was just pulled from TV randomly, and it's like almost impossible to watch over here.
Oh wow. Well, if you ever get a chance to, it's episode 810, season 8, episode 10. That's it. And I play a very shady character, very nasty, shady character. But anyway, the point is that I got an agent, going back to the original question. I got an agent, but I didn't feel comfortable with that agent to negotiate this contract with Warner Brothers. I didn't feel that this is the right agent to do this, and I certainly didn't want to negotiate this myself because it just looked not from a point of strength. So I actually went to a friend of mine. I said, listen, man, I just got offered the role Courage in the movie. I need an agent to just negotiate the job, negotiate the role. They don't need to get me the job. I got the job already. I just need them to come in and say they're my agent, and they're going to negotiate it for me, and they're going to get 10%. That's a beautiful way. As an agent, it's like, sure, why not? So they came in, and they were actually excited, first of all, because they liked Courage the Cowardly Dog. They had cast some of the characters, supplied some of their actors, had done some of the episodes of Courage. So they negotiated the deal for me, and they were really trying to lowball me financially. So they got them to, bump it up more at a more fair rate for me, So that was great. And this agent is still getting, negotiated other things for me that I did as well. And including the thing that John Dilworth had tried to do, which was to do a prequel to Courage, to bring Courage back as a series, as a prequel, Young Courage. And I thought it was cool. It was fun. It just didn't work out for them. Like they shelved it, unfortunately. But I did get to record the pilot of that episode, of that series that never actually occurred. So, it was kind of a cool thing. That's a long story, actually. It went in a lot of different directions. You ever notice that? Went in a lot of different directions, that story. But you did ask how it went. It just set off a whole lot of boing, 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 boing.
So I think my last question is, we talked a little bit before about the styles of Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scooby, and like there was, like we said, predominantly I think like Courage was the main theme they went with artistically and all that kind of thing. But were you involved in, did you hear about or have to cater to any changes to kind of collaborate the two?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, so here's what happened. Some Dr. Fauci. That's a very good question. You'll see who says that, Dr. Fauci. Okay. Anyway, that's all I'm saying on Dr. Fauci on this show. But I figured I could mention him. So the answer is, when I walked in, when I read the script, I was a little bit trepidatious there, because the way I could tell that they didn't really fully understand Courage or get the style of it fully, the writers. I thought it was a good story. When I read it, I said, this is a good story. The way they're writing Courage's things wasn't always Courage properly. So I was praying that they would collaborate with me, that they would say, you know, well, how would you do it? Well, how do you think it should be done? And, you know, which is exactly what they did. You know, Wes Gleason, God bless you if you're listening to this. He was the vocal director, and he was, you know, wonderful. They treated me like a, you know, like the prodigal son returning. And and they were, you know, there was a lot of, you know, well, I would say, I don't quite, all right, so how do you think it should be? So I would try it, and most of the time they took what I did, you know. And so there was I had a kind of role in making sure he sounds the way Courage would sound, you know. And that, I think it worked, because I never heard from anybody that Courage himself sounded weird or wouldn't have done that. The only thing I've heard is that a little bit of what you said, JayBee, was that it could have been a little scarier. But that for sure would have been the case if it was a Courage movie. Because, you know, a lot of people say, you know, with Scooby, everybody they're not really monsters. Usually somebody's wearing a monster outfit. In Courage, they're really monsters, you know.
Yeah, it's always people trying to like come and like con Muriel into buying something or making something go wrong. Like you say, it's actual people doing actual things more.
Serious demons, demons and creatures and, you know, savage beings. And so to their, you know, to their credit, I do agree with you that I think that they really did meld the two universes quite beautifully together, you know, because in a way you needed to make Courage Courage, Scooby's a very family friendly show, and Courage is a little bit more, you know, dark and edgy, still good for family, not for every family. And sometimes, you know, a little too much for certain people. So they had to make Courage not too much messed up. At the same time, they didn't want to Scooby, you know, Scooby then was in a sense being forced to extend into a real world of scariness that he's not usually used to. So I thought it was a nice blend. I thought it was kind of cool the way they did that, you know? So I was really happy with it. And everybody's given good feedback on it. You know, I haven't heard anybody say, it was really disappointment. And, you know, we waited so long and, you know, but a lot of people are saying we need another Courage. Come on.
Yeah.
You need to bring back Courage. Please Bring it back.
Hopefully that's given it the push it needs to do it.
I'm gonna live forever here, man. Before I die, let's get another Courage show, man.
I mean, I think you said, JayBee, when it was announced, like Courage the Cowardly Dog started like to trend on things like Twitter. So there is still like a huge fan base there.
Well, one thing that disappointed me about not the film, but it was actually the DVD in itself, is that the bonus features, as they often do with Scooby, included 3 bonus episodes of Scooby-Doo, which was amazing. But I think it would have been so cool to have an episode of Courage on the bonus features, because if you're a Scooby person watching it and think, okay, Scooby's great, oh, there's this little pink dog here, they're awesome too, where can we watch their show? Obviously it's not too difficult in this day and age, but to have that on the disc would have been so great as an introduction.
So ridiculous. Why wouldn't they do that? And they owned Courage.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. I'm sorry, guys. It's a little stupid, really.
Okay, Smash, did you have a last question?
Mine's kind of random just because I'm interested in this kind of stuff. But like, how long ago were you contacted about the project to the time that it actually came out?
The
How long
movie?
was the process?
I was contacted in I want to say August of 2019. And then I recorded it December 2019.
Okay.
And then I went in December 2020. 2020 to do the ADR, fix-ups and additional sounds and things like that. And so when it was released in September, it was almost 2 years.
Okay.
2 months shy of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
From the point when I recorded it to the point when it actually was released. That was a good long time.
Okay.
Pandemic slowed things up, I'm sure.
Right.
But not as bad as if it was a live action thing, right? So I was grateful because most of that work needs to be done in the studio anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So God bless.
Rhianna, sorry, did you have a last question?
I did. First, I just want to say that it's been like amazing talking to you, because just from your voice, we can hear how much you love Courage and talking about your art. Like, it's amazing, and you must have like such a real passion for it. And I guess my question is, if Courage could have a crossover with any show or any movie, what would you like it to be?
A crossover?
Yeah.
Well, crossover between Courage, another crossover between Courage and another character, you mean?
Yeah.
All right. I thought of my first choice was Bugs Bunny. But then I thought about it. What might really be funnier with Courage would be Huckleberry Hound.
Yeah.
Because his like, oh my darling, you know, we get it with this, and his low key thing that he's got going, and Courage is bouncing off the wall. It's just a very funny contrast there, you know. So
I imagine like when the threat arrived, like the villain, that would work really well with them just being so relaxed, and Courage is bouncing around the room pointing at any exit points, like,
yeah,
we need to go, get out.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Somebody should come up with that.
That would be amazing. And let me say, hopefully, oh sorry, I think it cut some audio out, but hopefully, like you were saying, there's so many things they can do now, and everybody would love another series of Courage and another movie as well. So hopefully it's given them the prompt they need. There's been such a good reception with, you know, so little promotion really, that it clearly displays that more Courage is something that would be amazing for everybody. So we've you've started to speak about some projects you've got coming up. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that's happening that you'd like to make everyone aware of, or anything like that?
Just keep an eye out for my. I'm doing a essentially. We're in the post-production. We are about 80% done with the film, right? But we need to get it past the point, to get to that final lap. So we're putting it out as a little mini fundraiser, essentially, where we're offering people the chance to be like backers, and make contributions, and there'll be rewards giveaways, so that when you'll make your clean cut, where we'll be, I'll be doing video shout outs to people. I will be, a lot of signed merchandise to give away, as part of like rewards for contributing and that whole thing. So there'll be this little fundraiser going on that you'll see online. You'll see on my page. There's that. So you could give as little or as much as you want to throw into the cause if you wanted to do that. We're trying to get it to that final point. We got a really good composer, Jody Gray, the guy who composed the music from Courage the Cowardly Dog, actually, will be our composer for this Hunter Thompson short film. So, and he's a good guy. He's given me a really good price, but he's not cheap. And so the idea, why should he be cheap? He shouldn't be cheap. He's a terrific artist, And then we're trying to get that final technical thing. It just seems to never end when it comes to film, So just keep an eye out on Facebook and Instagram for any information. And even if you don't want to keep an eye out anyway for when this film is coming out and its progress, and you'll be a part of it spiritually and, cheering me on and getting this thing into the end zone kind of thing. So
amazing. And we'll be sure to include in the description for this video the links to things like Instagram and Facebook and things like that, where you can keep up to date with that information. So yeah, like we say, check the description of this video for links to that. But I think that concludes on this video. So thank you so much for your time today. Honestly, it's been incredible to get such insight, and I think it's fair to say we've all really enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, I've had a blast. Like, the time's just flown. It's been incredible.
I know, I couldn't believe it, and as I know I go on and on and on and on, and then suddenly the time is gone. And I know the reason why it took so long, why it went so long, is because I don't. Wait, are we still on? Are we still recording?
Yeah, I guess we're.
Well, edit bits. We can edit bits.
Oh, what I say out. You can cut anything I say out. I don't. So that's the thing, right? You put that out now, right? Or leave it in.
We can censor it. We don't know. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's actually better because they'll know I said a dirty word. They're gonna wanna wish they could hear
it. So yeah, I think that concludes the video. Again, thank you so much for your time today. All the links will be in the description for those projects that you were talking about, so anybody that is interested in those can go and check those out. So yeah, this has been another video. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Bye.